Imagine your body's alert system is stuck in the on position. Every sensation, every emotion registers as static or alarm. In that noise, the quiet, beautiful signal of desire gets lost. We don't always need to turn up the volume on desire. In fact, sometimes we need to turn down the alarm. And to do that, we need 3 forgotten senses. So today I want to talk with you about coming home in your own body. And more than that, about how that homecoming can reawaken a fundamental part of being human, your capacity for desire. I'm Dr. Kate Balestrieri, a licensed psychologist, certified sex therapist, packed couples therapist, and the founder of Modern Intimacy, a practice with providers across the country that focuses on sex therapy and couples therapy. Many of you know, perhaps in your own life, what it feels like to feel disconnected, to feel as if you're watching your life from behind a pane of glass, or that your body is more of a liability than a home. Feeling disconnected from your body isn't a moral failing. It's often a brilliant protective adaptation. But when that protective numbing or hypervigilance or hyper-alertness becomes the default, it walls you off not just from the pain, but also from pleasure and often from desire. In this video series, I'll help you build a map for the journey back. I'll be using 3 essential navigational senses: interoception, exteroception, and proprioception. And we'll understand these 3 navigational senses through a lens that includes your nervous system, your relationships, and the social world that you live in. So first, let's take a look at neurobiology, the triad under threat. So think of your nervous system as an exquisite ancient security system. When it detects threat, whether it's a loud noise or a remembered betrayal, it prioritizes survival over subtlety. This is Stephen Porges' Polyvagal theory in action. Your thinking brain, the prefrontal cortex, can go offline, and your alarm center, the amygdala, takes over. In this state, your 3 primary perception systems become distorted. So interoception is your sense of your internal world, your heartbeat, your breath, the flutter of excitement, the clench of anger. It's the language of your gut and your heart, spoken through the brain region called the insula. Trauma or chronic stress can scramble this language. You might become hyper-aware, where every shift feels like a crisis, or hypo-aware, where you feel numb or empty or disconnected from your emotions. You literally lose the ability to trust the data from your own body. Exteroception is your 5-sense radar scanning the outside world. In a threatened state, this radar either becomes a hypervigilant searchlight for danger, or it shuts down, making the world feel unreal or foggy. And proprioception is your sense of self in space. It's the feeling of your feet on the ground or your spine lengthening, your ability to reach or pull back. When you've experienced violation or helplessness, this sense can go dark. You may feel disembodied, clumsy, or as if your body isn't truly yours. So your task in developing embodiment is to gently and safely recalibrate these 3 systems. So how do we do that? In this series, I'll walk you through different embodiment exercises as your toolkit. This is where practices like somatic experiencing and trauma-sensitive yoga are integrated to become your guide. So they don't ask you to relive the story. These exercises in this series will help you complete the biological response that was interrupted. So let's do a little background first. Somatic experiencing is based on Peter Levine's work. It covers many areas of the somatic process, but one thing I want to focus on today is pendulation. So in this series, I might ask you to notice the tightness in your jaw, and now see if you can also notice the feeling of the chair supporting your back. In doing that, we'll be moving between a small sensation of distress, interoception, and a sensation of support or neutrality, often proprioception or exteroception. This teaches your nervous system that sensation is manageable and that it can rise and fall, helping eventually to expand your window of tolerance. Many years ago, I trained in trauma-sensitive yoga, and I integrate a lot of that into my work. Trauma-sensitive yoga puts this practice into action. It's not about the perfect pose. It's a laboratory for choice. A trauma-sensitive yoga instructor might say things like, you might feel the contact of your hands on the floor. If it feels right, you might gently shift your weight forward. If not, you might stay still. Do you hear what's happening? You're being invited to link proprioceptive action, in other words, I will move, with interoceptive feedback because it feels right. So you're rebuilding rep by rep your sense of agency in your body. You're learning that your body's no and its yes are both sovereign. So let's take a minute and talk about your relationships as a system of regulation. This work is not done in a vacuum. Your nervous system is wired to co-regulate, to borrow calm from a safe other. This is the central tenet of the psychobiological approach to couples therapy, or the PACT model developed by Stan Tatkin. As a PACT therapist, this is something I'm putting into practice all the time with the couples that I work with. Because in a partnership, you are each other's most secure and powerful co-regulators. A PACT therapist will work on helping you use exteroception, so reading your partner's face, tone, posture, accurately and not as a threat. And a PACT therapist will also help you use interoception to know things like, my heart is racing, I need to pause, before you lash out. A secure functioning relationship becomes a container for you and your partner where you can practice your feelings while staying connected. Your partner's steady presence becomes an exteroceptive anchor for your own system and vice versa. But we have to look at power. And so here we must pause. From an intersectional lens, let's take a pause. And at the start of this video, I talked about how you might be feeling numb to desire. And in this moment, I'll ask, numb to what? In danger from whom? An intersectional feminist attachment theory insists that we see your disembodiment not just as personal history, but as potential adaptation to a world that may have objectified, policed, or violated bodies like yours. For survivors of sexual violence, for people in marginalized bodies, numbness can be a fortress. And reclaiming interoception is therefore a radical act. It's saying, I will feel what I feel, not what I was told to feel. Reclaiming proprioception is saying, I have a right to take up space. And your embodiment practice gets to include this critical consciousness, discerning which bodily messages are yours and which are echoes of oppression. So how does all of this lead you back to desire? Where does desire live? It's not an abstract thought. Desire is a somatic event. It is interoceptive arousal that is pleasurable, not terrifying. It's a proprioceptive impulse, a leaning in, a reaching out. It is exteroceptive attraction, seeing something or someone beautiful and feeling drawn, not threatened. An integrated embodiment practice creates the conditions for desire's return. In my book, What Happened to My Sex Life?, I offer a more detailed plan for becoming embodied again. And if you're someone who learns better through reading, that might be an option. There's a link in the caption if you'd like to check it out. It could also be an option if you felt really disconnected from desire. Embodiment offers a path back to feeling, but let's start with a few guiding thoughts. Number 1, safety, safety. By pendulating and widening your window of tolerance, you get to create internal safety. You learn to differentiate the clutch of panic from the flutter of anticipation. 2, agency returns. With restored proprioception, you can remember to move toward what pleases you. You are no longer frozen. And 3, emotional safety. In a securely attached relationship, vulnerability becomes possible. You can want and ask and receive from a place of grounded fullness, not a desperate need. Your desire becomes connective, not coerced or coercive. So in essence, you're rebuilding neural pathways from sensation is danger to sensation is information. You're moving from thoughts like my body is a trap to thoughts like my body is my home. And from within that safe, felt, empowered home, your desires, your hungers, your authentic yeses and nos can finally speak their name again. Your work is to listen and to trust that what you find there is worth reclaiming. If any of this speaks to you, feel free to download the Your Embodiment Companion. The link is down in the pinned comment and in the caption below. This is a free download that can help you start to track where your window of tolerance is, the sensations that you feel, and to journal through a beginning awareness in this practice. And feel free to stick around and check out the following videos. I'll be starting this embodiment series soon, and I invite you to join me if it feels right for you.